All right, future CPAs, welcome back. Today, we are diving deep into a topic that is absolutely guaranteed to pop up on your exams: how to correctly calculate the cost of inventory when you're making it yourself. We're talking about IAS 2. Nailing this stuff is a total game changer, so let's get right into it.
Okay, so here's our roadmap. We're going to build this thing from the ground up, tackle the really tricky parts, and then finish with a super fast review that's going to help you lock this knowledge in for the long haul.
All right, first things first. Before we get into all the crazy calculations, we have to build a really solid foundation. And the first big question is, what costs actually get to be part of your inventory's value, and what gets kicked out and expensed immediately?
So check this out. IAS 2 is super clear on this. It basically says a cost can only be included or capitalized if it's directly helping to bring that inventory to its present location and condition. Think about it. Paying for shipping to your factory? That's in. Paying for your CEO's office? Nope, that's out. It's not physically making the product, so it's an expense.
Okay, now let's zoom in on the real heart of manufacturing accounting, what we call costs of conversion. This is literally the magic of turning a pile of raw materials into a finished product. And trust me, this is where the trickiest exam questions love to hang out.
The number one thing to get here is that it's not just about paying the people who are physically touching the product on the assembly line. You also have to figure out a way to systematically and fairly add in a slice of all the other factory costs. We're talking about the factory's electricity, the supervisor's salary, the whole shebang. We can actually break down all those conversion costs into three main buckets. You've got your direct labor and your variable overheads. Those are pretty easy. The more stuff you make, the more you spend on them. But that third one, fixed production overheads, oh boy, that one is the main boss battle we need to win today.
So what is it about these fixed costs that makes them such a headache for accountants? Well, it all comes down to how they behave.
And this right here perfectly illustrates the problem. Your factory rent is, let's say, $100 grand a month. It doesn't care if you make one t-shirt or a million t-shirts. So how do you attach a piece of that rent to each shirt? If you only made one shirt all month, is that shirt now worth $100 grand? Of course not. That's insane, right? So we obviously need a rule to solve this mess.
And to solve that puzzle, IAS 2 gives us a beautiful, non-negotiable, golden rule. Seriously, if you're studying for the boards, this is one of those concepts you absolutely have to master.
I mean, just think about it logically. Let's say your factory has a really slow month. If you use your actual, low production numbers, each unit you made would have to absorb a massive chunk of rent. The cost per unit would just skyrocket. You'd basically be hiding the cost of your factory's inefficiency inside your inventory value. And IAS 2 is crystal clear on this. That's a huge no-no.
Instead, IAS 2 tells us we have to use something called normal capacity. This isn't about one random month. It's about the average, steady, sustainable output your factory is built to achieve over the long run. It's your factory's cruising speed, not its stop-and-go traffic.
And that's it. This is the key. You calculate your fixed overhead rate based on what you should produce, on average, not what you actually did in one period. This gives you a stable, predictable, and fair cost per unit.
And hey, don't just take my word for it. This is pulled straight from the standard itself. The whole point here is to make sure your inventory cost is honest. It should reflect the true cost of making something, not the cost of your factory sitting around doing nothing. That downtime cost is a period expense, not something you can bury in your inventory.
So, that leads us to the next big question, right? You're probably thinking, okay, if our actual production is lower than our normal capacity, what happens to that chunk of fixed overhead that didn't get attached to a product? Does it just disappear?
Nope, it's a simple four-step process. 1, you get your rate using normal capacity. 2, you apply that rate to what you actually made. 3, you figure out what's left over. And 4, and this is the money shot, this is what they always test you on, that leftover amount, that under-absorbed overhead, gets expensed immediately. It hits your income statement right away.
So let's put some real numbers on this. Say you run the calculation and find out you have $36,000 of unallocated overhead. What is that? That, my friends, is the cost of your idle capacity. It's the price you pay for not running at full steam. And where does it go? Straight to the income statement as an expense. You cannot hide it in inventory.
All right, it is time for the final sprint. Let's lock this all in with a rapid-fire review. Think of this as your special high-retention study hack, designed specifically for the LECPA. Okay, get your phones out and screenshot this slide right now, or write these down. These 6 rules are the absolute core principles. If you can burn these into your brain, you will be able to crush almost any manufacturing inventory problem that comes your way. This is your key.
And here's some food for thought. This whole idea of not capitalizing inefficiency, it's a massive theme across all of accounting. Think about asset impairments or R&D costs. The goal is always the same, to make sure the numbers on the financial statements are real and not misleadingly inflated. So remember, you're not just memorizing a rule, you're learning a fundamental principle of what makes accounting honest. Thanks for watching and good luck with your studies. You've got this.